incidents. This week, an AI wrote its own attack playbook and broke into one of the world's biggest AI platforms without a human at the keyboard. Microsoft shipped its biggest patch Tuesday ever, with 20 days already being used in the wild. And a supply chain campaign called SleeperGem slipped malicious code straight into developer pipelines. I am your host, and this is your weekly cyber briefing. What happened, how we know, and exactly what your SOC needs to check this week. Here is what we are covering. First, the Hugging Face breach, the first confirmed case of an end-to-end autonomous AI attack on production infrastructure. Then, Microsoft's record-breaking patch, Tuesday, and the 20 days you need to patch today, not this sprint. After that, a RubyGems supply chain campaign with the exact malicious package, names and versions to hunt for. And in our rapid fire round, Cisco SDWAN, under sustained attack, a ransomware group going after Synopsys and Bosch, and new entries on CISA's exploited vulnerabilities list. Let us get into it. Our top story this week is one the industry has been predicting for years and just watched happen for the first time in public. On July 16th, Hugging Face, the platform hosting hundreds of thousands of AI models used by tens of thousands of organizations, disclosed that its production infrastructure had been breached. And the attack was, quote, driven end-to-end by an autonomous AI agent system. Here's how it worked. The attacker uploaded a malicious dataset to Hugging Face's data processing pipeline. That dataset abused two separate flaws: a remote code execution path in the dataset loader and a template injection bug in how dataset configs get parsed to get code running on a processing worker. From that single foothold, the AI agent took over. It escalated its own privileges, harvested cloud and cluster credentials, and moved laterally into multiple internal clusters over a single weekend, with no human directing each step. Hugging Face's own security team logged over 17,000 individual actions taken by the agent framework. What makes this different from every AI-themed attack we've talked about before is autonomy. This wasn't an attacker using an AI copilot to write better phishing emails. This was an agent making its own tactical decisions, establishing self-migrating command and control on public services, spinning up disposable short-lived sandboxes as throwaway infrastructure. All patterns you'd expect from a skilled human red team, generated by a machine at machine speed. Hugging Face says they've found no evidence yet that public-facing models, data sets, or their Spaces platform were tampered with, and they're calling their software supply chain verified clean as of now. But the investigation into partner and customer data impact is still open. For security operations center teams, the takeaway isn't go patch this CVE. Hugging Face hasn't published specific CVEs for the two chained flaws yet. The takeaway is detection posture. If your alerting logic assumes a human attacker's pacing, recon, then access, then escalation spread over hours or days, this incident is a live example of that timeline compressing to a single weekend, fully automated. It's worth walking your incident response tabletop through this exact chain this month. Next, Microsoft's July patch Tuesday just became the largest in the company's history. On July 14th, Microsoft shipped fixes for somewhere between 570 and 622 vulnerabilities, depending on how you're counting, across Windows, SharePoint, ADFS, Exchange, Azure, and SQL Server. Two of them are confirmed under active exploitation right now. The first is a critical elevation of privilege bug in on-premises SharePoint server, tracked as CVE 2026-56164. It's network-based, low complexity, and needs zero user interaction. It was actually discovered by incident responders from Mandiant and Google's Flare team, meaning they found it while responding to live attacks, not in a lab. And attackers are chaining it with older, already known SharePoint bugs to steal IIS machine keys and plant persistence, the exact same mechanical fingerprint as last year's tool shell campaign, which Chinese state-linked groups used to hit finance, healthcare, government, and energy targets at scale. The second is CVE 2026 56155, an elevation of privilege flaw in the distributed key manager container used by Active Directory Federation services. This one needs an existing low privilege foothold to use. So it's not your initial access vector, it's what an attacker reaches for once they're already inside, to escalate straight into your identity and federation trust path. CISA didn't wait. They added the SharePoint CVE to the known exploited vulnerabilities catalog the same day the patch shipped, with a July 17th remediation deadline for federal agencies. If you do nothing else this week, patch every internet-facing SharePoint server first, turn on AMSI with full request body scan mode as an interim mitigation while you're patching, then get to your ADFS servers and pull your SharePoint and IIS logs for unexplained requests or new accounts created before the patch went in. Story 3 is a supply chain campaign researchers are calling SleeperGem. And if you've got Ruby anywhere in your stack, this is worth a direct search through your log files. Security researchers flagged 3 malicious gems published to RubyGems, each built to act as a loader, meaning the package itself looks harmless. But on install, it reaches out and pulls down a second stage payload. That's a deliberate move to dodge static scanning at publish time. The specific packages to hunt for: a gem called Git Credential Manager, versions 2.8.0 through 2.8.3, published July 18th. A package called Dendrio, versions 1.1.3 and 1.1.4. And a Fastlane plugin for Firebase Test Lab Automation, version 0.32. Notice the naming pattern: a credential manager, a testing plugin. These are picked specifically to sound like tools a developer or a CI pipeline would install without a second thought. If any of those names or versions show up in your software bill of materials, treat the host as compromised, not just the package as removed. Quick hits before we wrap up. Cisco SDWN infrastructure is under an ongoing, repeated exploitation campaign, with researchers reporting impact on government and critical infrastructure networks. A reminder that edge devices carrying privileged access across a distributed network are exactly what attackers go looking for first. A cybercrime group calling itself D1R claims it stole data from chip design giant Synopsys and industrial supplier Bosch and is threatening to leak it unless they are paid. A zero-day in a third-party system connected to KDDI's infrastructure was exploited, exposing communications data across 5 Japanese internet providers, 1 supplier weakness, multiple downstream victims. CISA added new entries to its known exploited vulnerabilities list this week, including unrestricted file upload flaws in Ike Agenda and Balboa forms. Both are the classic upload then execute pattern. So if you're running either, check now. And in a story that pairs nicely with our top segment, researchers demonstrated registering repository names that AI coding agents are statistically likely to hallucinate, then showed how those agents would automatically fetch and run the malicious code. It is a new flavor of supply chain risk that only exists because development workflows are increasingly agent-directed. That's your week. The through line across almost every story today is speed and autonomy, AI agents attacking at machine pace, patch windows measured in days not weeks, supply chains where trust gets abused at the package level. If this kind of breakdown is useful for your SOC's Monday briefing, subscribe and drop in the comments which of these you want a deeper technical walkthrough on next week. See you next Tuesday.